It's Monday night, and that means it's time for Disputed Lands. Man, I am really thrilled to be here. I hope you all can hear me over there. You'll have to tell me if you can't. Oh my goodness, that monitor looks like it looks like the could be a little higher definition. Let's see if we can fix that. Watching over here to this is really kind of just as those of you guys who watch a lot of videos are aware, the Google Hangouts went away as of August 1st. You guys have been watching pre-recorded shows for the better part of a month and a half for the most part. I think I got one live show in there with Dr. Mike Spalding. Other than that, it's been pre-recorded shows. We are gearing up for this fall. It is going to be a jam-packed fall. Tonight, I'm going to go over a few things here. I'm just going to let you know, it's testing. So if you guys got your hopes up for anything real great, well, maybe there'll be some of that. It's Disputed Lands. You'll never know when some of that might jump in there. I'm going to share my thoughts, my experience at Take on the World this year. Some of the things that, hey, Patricia, it's good to see you, that just jumped in there that were very phenomenal for me personally. I want to share this with you. This is pretty cool. So we are, I tell you what, I got such a great family in the body of believers who continually find ways to surprise me and bless me in a new way. And I'm telling you, it really helps during the difficult times. And I'm going to share that with you. This is pretty cool. I hadn't shared this with anybody yet. I got this as a gift. Well, there we go. I got this as a gift. You kind of see it. This thing was handmade. It says Disputed Lands, and of course it's a bag here, of course, but it's not just any bag because it holds a very special gift. It holds. Check this out. Check that out. I got me a real shofar as a gift at Take on the World this year. Somebody saw my conch shell and they said, that's pretty cool, but this is what you need. And it's got a real tiny hole. So my son who's played instruments, he could make this thing. It's pretty loud. It's pretty sharp, high sound. You can hear it for miles, I'm sure. But I'm struggling because I got big lips for that. But I wanted to share that. That's just a real cool gift that I got. And I thank you guys that bless me and do these kind of things out of the goodness of your heart. This isn't the only thing I've received. People have sent me stuff from time to time. Man, it really means a lot. And that's actually the next thing I'm going to go on. This Take on the World conference for me from start to finish was just, for me personally, was a blessing from the get-go. Now, I didn't get there until Friday because I had to work. And then I took Doug Krieger. I picked him up here in Indianapolis, and then we rode together to the conference, and then I took him back. That in and of itself was a blessing. Krieger slept most of the way there, which he was tired. He'd been up all night traveling, so I'll get that to him. But it allowed me to have, nearly 5 hours of just conversation with him on the way back to the airport. It was just a blessing to be able to do that. But the conference in and of itself, there's this thought about expectations. What is it that you expect? And we've made no bones about it on this show that leading up to the conference, it was a real spiritual battle. It was a fight, from the get-go. Chris and Liz, they took a month off, I think, after last year before they immediately started. So they spent 11 months planning this event. And of course, there were battles up and along and around the way to where there are several occasions where it was questionable of whether it was even going to go through. And as always, there's such a blessing when we commit to the Father to be faithful to Him, knowing that He is going to be faithful in His Word to be there. Some of the highlights for me is that I got to play a part in baptizing 3 people at this conference. Last year, I didn't get to baptize anybody, which is okay. But this year, I think all totaled, between the folks that I know, there was probably close to 15, anywhere from 15 to 20 people that were baptized out at this conference, which is just right. One, the angels sing at one, right? So just that and alone was worth it. Very, very humbled that there are folks out there that seek me out to say, hey, I want you to be the one to do it. One of those incidents was, I'll just share this testimony with you, is I was doing the prophecy Q&A there at the conference, and there was already one gentleman who had the day before, you know who he is, Carolisa knows who he is very well, had approached me the day before and said, hey, I'd like to get baptized. It's like, all right, let's do it. And so we set a time for the next day, doing the prophecy Q&A panel there at the Take On World. And as I was getting done, just boom, out of nowhere, the Father prompted me, hey, if there is anybody out there who had been looking or thinking about getting baptized, I'm going to be out here to do it. Well, I go out of there, and this young lady, she knows who she is, was out there, and she barely got words out, and she was already in tears. She goes, I had been looking and waiting, even scheduled to meet this person to get baptized, and it's been on my heart and weighing on me. And the fact that you said that, yeah, let's do that. So, that was just another of those little God moments right there, where He just kind of shows up in the midst. He prompts you, you be obedient, and He's already working in somebody else's heart to be there to meet that. And then, of course, we'll go down, somebody else finds out and says, hey, I want to do that too. So it was just a real blessing to be able to do that. Not only, are the times where I get to speak a joy, it's always a joy for me to do those things. This one, I would say, out of all the times that I spoke, I went kind of off script for Chad Schaefer and what everybody else was probably expecting. So if you haven't saw that on the channel yet, I think probably most of you guys in the audience, perhaps maybe Audrey, she hasn't seen it yet. She was out in the desert. But Audrey and anybody else, if you want, go look for my testimony on this channel. For me, it was a very personal one. It was very, it was not easy to do this. That testimony there came about because I was trying to put together presentations for that slot, and they kept failing. I was getting no joy out of doing out of putting together the presentation. It was work. Things weren't working right. The computer wasn't working right. And I knew the Father put it on my heart to give my testimony and share what I ended up sharing. And every time I did that, He was like, He was right there in the midst of it to just encourage me. And I was like, finally, I gave up. Okay, Father, you win. We're going to do that one. We'll do that one. And then, of course, in between those sessions, just getting to talk to everybody. I had several opportunities there for me personally to minister to people on an individual basis or couples, to counsel and pray with them and give them some perhaps some tips, advice on how to proceed and deal with whatever it is that they're trying to deal with, which was just that was just amazing. It was for me nonstop. I got to do that from one session to one couple or person to another. I was just able to be there and do what I wanted to do, which was to lift people up in prayer, to counsel with them, to help them further along in their walk, to build the body up. And that's what it's all about. There is going to be somebody, I said, I hope he can make it. He's working. He said he's going to try, but I'm going to share this with you. There's going to be new to Disputed Lands. We're going to actually not have one. We're going to have one new co-host. He's going to be a mainstay. He'll probably be here with me every week if he doesn't get delayed working tonight. And some of you guys know him. I had him on to give his testimony on this channel earlier in the year. His name is Ian Fiaducci. Ian Fiaducci. He's going to get me for that later, but that's okay. He's not here yet. Ian Fiaducci is going to be a co-host. He's going to be a regular co-host. So I'm going to have somebody to help me on the channel. If for some reason I can't be here, the goal is, folks, the goal is going to be to make sure that there is a live show every Monday night, regardless of whether I can be there or have something that I need to do or not. Most of the time it'll be both of us. But he'll be there to do the live show if I'm not. So backup channel, and everybody's going to be able to get into. The only time you're going to get a pre-recorded show or a re-upload is if, for some reason one of us can't make it. Also, there's going to be another co-host who's going to fill in from time to time. Perhaps down the line, he may join me and Ian on a regular basis here in about 6 months or so. He has also been a guest on this show before. His name is Darren Geisinger. You guys know, a lot of you guys know who Darren is. But Darren is going to be a fill-in host and sometimes co-host on the channel as well. So I've got not one, but two people who are going to be co-hosts on here with Disputed Lands with me. And so that's going to be very exciting for me. And I'm sure they're going to do a good job in providing content for us as well when they're doing it. Now, the other thing, back to the stream, you can see this little icon up here, Streamyard. I'm using this new service, Streamyard. I'm trying to figure it out, doing so far. It seems pretty straightforward and easy. I would like to open up more features to this that allows me to play my intro video. It allows me to do more with the banners in the background. Which I'm doing, still working on. As you can see, I don't have the blue curtain up. I don't have anything. I just got the blinders. I got a Disputed Lands blanket hangover that's coming. May end up getting some green screen. There's a gentleman 2 years ago that gave me some money to get that. I still got it. I just haven't spent it yet because I want to do it right. I want to do it all at once. But that brings me to the StreamYard point. To open this up, it's going to be, it's not expensive, but it's more than what I can afford right now. I think it's like $30 a month, or it turns out to be about $360 a year for the full access on the StreamYard service. I believe that is. Anybody can go look that up and see what it is. So if you are so moved and you would like to help the channel Disputed Lands, I don't have anything set up for you yet this week. I'll tell you how to do that next week. If you would like to do that, it's going to take about $360 for the year. We'll set up for donations to do that. That brings me to my next thing. I have been teasing you guys. I've been teasing you guys about an upcoming show series that I'm going to do. I've told you that it's going to be phenomenal. I've told you it's going to be a marathon, and now for tonight, I am going to actually share with you what we're going to do. It's going to be in the works. It's going to take some time to put together. I don't have the exact date when it will begin, but I'm going to share what's going on. So I want you guys to prepare your hearts and your minds for this. We are going to do a marathon series of pre-recorded shows that will play back to back to back to back. How many of them, I don't know, but it's going to be around the clock, beginning on a certain date. The whole purpose of this marathon series show is going to be to raise money for one particular family in particular. That family is Josh and Christina Peck. As many of you know, their son was diagnosed earlier in this year with cancer, and they have been treating him. So far, he's been in remission. Right now, he's doing well. He's healthy, and everything seems to be going good. But they have what is going to be a mountain of medical bills to pay, and I don't care what insurance you have, and you guys know this, who hasn't had to deal with cancer in their families. I am getting many of, if not all, of Josh and Christina's texts, mutual friends of theirs. Many of them have already agreed to come on, and for every hour or 30 minutes to an hour, one of them is going to come on, and while they're on, you're going to have the opportunity. We're going to have a site set up, or email set up, PayPal set up, where you guys can donate to them. So be prepared and be ready. Ian's calling me right now. Hey, Ian, we're live. We're live, Ian. Oh, I missed him. Ian, you there? Ian may be trying to come in the show. That was Ian right there. But we're live. So it's something I'm telling you now so that you can. Oh, here. Hey, Ian. Yeah, we're live. Would you like to talk to him? No, to the channel. Well, yeah, I was planning. I'm just letting you know right now. I'm about to drive home. So. Okay. All right. So. Yep. Ian says, "Hey guys." Ian says he's going to be here in about 10-15 minutes. We'll see you then. Okay. Bye now. So Ian's going to be 10-15 minutes. Poor guy. So I want you guys to be prepared for that. Maybe leading up to that, you can say to your right now, hey. This week, I'm going to skip that coffee on this day, and I'm going to set that money aside so that when the marathon comes, you guys can be ready to donate. And there's not going to be any goal or target amount to reach on this. We're going to leave it open, but I really hope that the Disputed Lands Take on the World TV fam shows up for that. We're going to announce it ahead of time so that those who are going to be on can also advertise on their respective channels that they're going to be over here doing this, so that their platforms and their listeners can join us at that time to donate. But I think it's going to be a cool event. We're going to get a lot of great speakers and content providers are going to be on the channel to do a marathon series. So be in prayer for that. A big shout out to my Disputed Lands prayer team, headed up by Marla. You guys have been phenomenal, just phenomenal. I can't tell you what it means to me, especially when I stir stuff up. Many of you know I've been stirring up the pot a little bit, and I'm going to talk about this, and it's going to lead into and take me back to the Take on the World and some of kind of my thoughts I'm going to share about that as we move forward. So it's all going to segue together. So what did I just say? Somebody typed. So anyway, so take on the world. For me, as I said, it was very much a blessing from start to finish. For others, it was a battleground, just to get there. And while they were there, they had to battle different things. They were taking in the speakers and the fellowship and the love, but that's not everybody's experience. And there, of course, with any of the things that we find in the scriptures that can be what we would call hot button topics or tender topics, or things that are very near to some people's heart and maybe not as much to others. For instance, if you want to talk about the flat earth or sacred naming, and I'm going to talk about that. That's what was on my mind. King James only, those kind of things. These can be subjects that really, for some, they're very passionate about. And I understand that passion. I really do. I understand that passion. But I had offended many folks this week with what I called sacred namers. And some of those who hold the name of the Father to be sacred thought I was talking about them. And that's not what I meant. by that at all. I can explain that as well, because I hold his name to be sacred and holy, set apart too. Since my journey, I come to where I Yeshua, the name or Yahweh. So I hold those to be closer to the truth. I use them, and I believe them to be holy and sacred. That's not what I'm talking about. I came on a journey, and it took me a while to get where I was. Knowing that, and knowing all that I had to go through, I know that there are others who perhaps are just beginning their journey, and they haven't had to go. They haven't even come close to where I am in their walk yet with the Father. They haven't spent, their whole lives, or 30 or 40 years in their walk and in their progression. For them, this is brand new. And so they have to start where they know. My issue is, and what I call the sacred namers, is when people will use the word and their knowledge to belittle, bemoan, or cause others to question even their salvation, their faith, because of their knowledge, of the name. It's not the approach that we need as believers. If and I say this, finally they are. When they have become a friend, when you have earned their platform, and I'm sorry there, folks. I lost it there for a second. I think I'm back now. I don't know what's going on with the internet. It's because I want to do a show tonight. I apologize. It's just because I want to do Disputed Lance tonight. I haven't had issues with this computer all for the last 2 months, but I want to do a show, and so there you go. But anyway, we have to reach people just as our Father modeled that. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of that, of fighting with that. We're going to do that show at another time about going into the name, the translations, the transliterations, how that all works, because it is a hot topic issue. The King James only crowd, we can talk about that at another time as well. The point is that I want people to understand and see that you have to love first. That's my view on this. It doesn't mean I don't hold the Father's name or anything to be less sacred, but those I have termed sacred namers. They use the word, they use that as a sword and to bash and cut down anybody, whether they proclaim to be a brother or sister or not. If they don't have their understanding as a weapon, and causing even many people to email me, people that I minister to disciple, because I have people that I disciple on a routine, regular basis, who come then to me, emailing me and asking me questions. Am I saved because of this? I mean, do I have to pronounce his name? It's causing confusion. I'm not saying it's not good that they bring it up, but folks, when you're causing harm and hurting people in this manner, that's not the Father. That's not the fruit of the Spirit. It's not at all. That leads me to the end of the Take on the World. My experience was a blessing from start to finish. I had no incidences this year that had caused me any issues or me to come down off of the joy that I was feeling. But that wasn't true for everyone. For some, there were times of conflict, even so much so that one of the persons who spoke there has ended his ministry because of the conflict he faced for this. And if you want, you guys who know who that is can go find his channel. You can listen to him talk. And that's going to be what I'm talking about now. And that is the patience and endurance of the saints. It is very easy. And I hope if anybody knows who I'm talking about and you are a mutual friend with him, go share this video with him and maybe he'll watch it. I don't know. I'm talking about the patience and endurance of the saints. When things come against us, it is very easy. It's very easy in the gut knee-jerk reaction is to say, you know what? I'm done. I'm tired of the attacks. I'm tired of being ridiculed. I could come on this channel with a blue shirt one day and somebody says, it's Masonic. I change that shirt, come on with a red. Somebody is always out there to criticize. Talk about the issues that I was talking about earlier, whether it's flat earth, sacred name, King James. Pick a hot button issue. There is always somebody who that particular subject is near and dear to their heart, and they are very passionate about it and often wield that passion like a baseball bat. And they use it and they end up smacking around anybody that's near them because that's very, very passionate. Maybe something they've been called to ministry to. But those who are on the receiving end of that or new in their faith, man, those blows, they can hurt. They can really hurt. And they can cause people to want to step back. And if you're in the public eye like any one of these folks do, like myself or anybody who's, has a ministry that's the public ministry as this, it's not just those incidents, but it's a daily thing for some, depending on the size of the audience. It's a daily thing where somebody is sending you hate mail or criticizing your thoughts or your position on something. You're continually being scrutinized. And I can understand wanting to say, you know what, to heck with you all, shutting it down, getting rid of my channel and doing that. But it's the endurance and patience of the saints. Going through the things that I have in my life and seeing what has taken place in my life, it comes down to this for me regarding any of these things. You can say anything you want about me. I know I'm not perfect. And many, many times there is edification to be done that I could have somebody to share with me. I know that I have things to learn. But I've come to the place in my life that regardless of what somebody says or does to me, I can't quit. I cannot quit. My Father has called me to be a servant to him. And that means no matter what you do to me, what you say to me, no matter what you throw at me, I'm still going to serve him. I'm still going to do what he's called me to do and be faithful in that. You will have to take my breath from me to stop. But I didn't get to this position overnight in my heart where I could be that person, where things like that didn't rattle me. It took time. It took many times of failing in that, of running away, wanting to be silent. The key to this is recognizing in yourself when you are fearful and you're feeling this way. In the scripture, it says, it gives the parable of a man who is going to build a tower. He says, before you build the tower, consider the cost, lest you become only be able to make it, halfway done. And then it becomes a mockery. You can't finish it. And I think that's very wise for any of us, for anybody who's considering any ministry whatsoever. Have you counted the cost? And for me, the cost of any ministry has always been the utmost cost, right? I've always considered it the utmost cost. It's my life. The cost of doing ministry will be life, and I will be obedient. But that's something I settled in my heart long ago and years ago. And for many, it's a struggle. For many of you, it may be a struggle too, whether it be coming on this show to give your testimony or proceeding in any kind of ministry that you know you're being led to do. When the road gets tough in that ministry, the question I've always asked of myself and of them is, did you consider the cost before you began? Did you consider what it might cost you to walk in the ministry that you are setting out to do? Because the cost is your life. It's not without sacrifice. And so if you count that cost, that sacrifice ahead of time, when the time gets tough, when people start hurling the insults, criticizing, mocking, I even had people mocking me just yesterday or the day before, people mocking me, when people begin to do that, doing that, the question is, did you settle in your heart before you began the ministry that you were going to accept that? And then when it comes, when the rubber meets the road, will you go through? Will you go through on that? That's what the Father is looking for. He says, when the Father returns, he's asked that question in the scriptures. Will he find faith? Will he find faith? That's the question each of us wants to be able to answer with a yes, with an amen. I was faithful to the task that I was given. Nobody can take that from me. Nobody can steal that from me. For a minister, did you count the cost of your family, of your children? Right? Many a man or mother, father or mother, can say, yes, my life is good. Okay, let's move to the next. Your wife, your husband, your children, should those be taken from you in your service to the Father? Are you going to proceed? Those are the real questions. And it's the things that you ought to, in wisdom, consider ahead of time. And that's not just for this ministry. It goes for any ministry that you're in. Have you given all to the Father or not? That was the essence of my testimony that I shared at the Take of the World, is giving all, sacrificing, laying it all at the Father, that he might be all in all. That's the question each of us has to ask ourselves. That's the question each of you have to think and perhaps consider going forward. It's this road that we travel in being faithful to our Father and our service to him is a narrow one, can be a rocky one. But it also means that if you are faithful in the small service that you walk in, it can be a great light in a very, very dark place. And your life can be a witness to someone who may be unaware. You may be unaware that you were a service too. Now, I know that there are many people out there who were friends with me for a long time that I offended with my post this week. My goal was not to offend you. It was simply to remove some people who were not listening to reason or requests, to be respectful, polite, and loving towards those who aren't in the place they are. But I want to say to you, I still love you. I forgive you. I am not your enemy, and I don't want to be your enemy. I just can't have that going on the page. We don't have the time. There are too many people who are hurting with real life issues for these things to be clouding up the page. People were sneaking things in on posts that I hadn't seen, and others asking me, Chad, is that really your position on this? It's like, nah, heaven's sakes, no, that's not my position. So it's just trying to save some time, just trying to clean it up. That's about all. Going forward, like I said, the Speed of Lands is going to be having on many guests. If you want to know who are going to be future guests on the show, go look at the speaking lineups at the conferences that I've been to this year. All three of those. It's going to be rare that I won't have one of those folks that I was speaking with on as a future guests on Disputed Lands. We're going to have folks like Coach Dave Dobbenmeyer, L.A. Marzulli, again, Carl Tykrip, John Holler. If I can track him down a minute, Bradley Dean. Some of you guys have never heard about Bradley Dean. Of course, Dr. Mike Spalding, David Hebner, a host of others are going to be guests on this show. And we're just really looking forward to that. I'm trying to stall now for time so that I can introduce Ian. that does bring me up. Again, back to the Take on the World conference. For me, there was this. I'll tell you about Ian Fiaducci. So last year, it was funny. He's going to be embarrassed by this later, but that's okay. I'm kind of ornery that way. So last year, I'm at my table with my books, and I look around and I see this guy walking around, and he stands out when you see him. He kind of stood out. And I could see him, man. He was glancing over at the table, and then he'd almost start walking, and then he'd walk away. He was trying to work up the courage to come over there and talk. It was so cute. It was like, oh, man, that dude. I could tell he just wanted to come talk. So he finally comes up and talks to me, Ian. And he goes, man, I saw your stuff. I listened to your testimony. That's just awesome. I just wanted to let you know, man, that stuff was awesome. Thank you. Love you. Thank you. I was like, that's cool. Well, Ian and his family actually, in between sessions or whatever, when I needed to go back over and rest a minute or just go away and quietly pray, Ian and his family in their cabin was right over there next to mine. And I found myself gravitating over there to him and his wife and just sitting with them and their little girl. She was, I think it was only 2 at the time. Right. So just spending time with them, and it was just very relaxing. It was like having a family away from a family. And this year, it ended up being kind of the same thing. Anytime I was over there. This is so neat, man. This is so touching. On the way there, Ian and his wife to this year's Take on the World. I know I'm just sharing personal stuff. I'm just waiting for them to come into the room. They're on the way here, and their daughter asked them, is Uncle Chad going to be there this year too? I mean, come on. She was 2 years old. She's asking if Uncle Chad's going to be there. Precious, man. I'm telling you. I hugged that girl, right? I mean, little 3-year-old thing, just trying to break a grown man's heart. Of course I was there, but they were just a blessing. Over that time and over the last few years, I've gotten to know Ian a lot better. He's had his own ministry that he's done through just studying through the Word on a Facebook page through Facebook, where he would post scriptures and have discussion. He had a very large group of people up there. I think he's close to 5,000 or something like that on there, where he was doing Bible studies and everything. So he's real solid. He's younger than me in the faith. And so not only is he going to be co-host, it's kind of me in a way discipling as well, somebody else into a public ministry to give them an opportunity at this aspect of going forward. And this guy is sharp, man. Ian is a sharp dude. He asks some very hard questions that will really make you think. And so I'm very confident that he's going to do an excellent job as a co-host on this channel. I'm just really looking forward to that. While I'm stalling for time to make sure that he gets on here, if there are any of you who out there who have questions, just post them in the chat. The nice thing about this Streamyard service here is that you probably see my eyes are looking kind of off to the side here. Google Hangouts didn't have that nice feature. Here, the camera and the window all show up in front of me, as well as the comments from YouTube. They're posting up here right beside my window where I can see everything. That's really nice, man. I mean, so if you want to support the channel next week or the week after, I'll tell you how to do that. We'll try to raise money so I can open up the full features on the Streamyard service. I think it's going to be about $360. I'll know the numbers for sure. It's like $30 a month. I think I remember Tom and Tom done telling me to open those up. So I would like to be able to do that. There's just no way I can do it on my own. I'm still got other stuff that I got to take care of. But are you behind on emails, Andrew? Andrew, I got your email. No, I'm not behind. I haven't responded to it yet, and here's why, Andrew. The calendar. I have looked, of course, at the calendar years and years ago, but it's something that I really got to concentrate on. I mean, if I'm going to look at that information, it's going to be the only thing I'm looking at, and I'm going to spend days looking at it. So I have your email. I have it bookmarked. It's ready to go, but I'm not going to it until I can dig into it and give it my full attention to understand what you're talking about. So I got it. I'm looking at it. It's on tap. I hope that answers the question. Yeah, I got it. I got it, brother. I got it. Anybody else have any questions for me they would like to ask, or anything else they would like to mention about the conference or whatever? If you want to come on and just share briefly, if you're willing to do that, and you're on Facebook and you're friends with me, I will give you a link, and you can come in here and talk about your experience at Take on the World. Some of you behind your monitors like, I'm in my jammies. My hair's a mess, and in rollers, there ain't no way coming off this beautiful lens camera. I'm with you. Oh, the Speed Lens, go get your mugs. They're still available. The money, so okay, that's good. That's good. Another topic. So we were raising money for someone to go to Take on the World this year, which we did. We were able to get a whole family through your donations and buying Disputed Lands gear, stuff. You know, what's the, you guys know, what's the modern term for that? Swag. That's what they call it, swag. Stuff we all get, right? To get your Disputed Land swag, all the money went to that. The money, until we start raising money again for another family for Take on the World this year, the money between now and then is going to be used towards Streamyard. It's going to help buy the green screen, Disputed Lands drop down that I'm going to put, and or a drop down back here. They got cool things. I'm going to have actually it's like a wall hanging that's going to go over my blinds there at this side. The blinds there on this side, it's going to be a Disputed Lands wall hanging. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to get that. It's not going to stay this way. So that's what keep going and buying Disputed Lands gear. One of you who are the mods in the chat can provide a link to that. That would be great. Doc says, I was glad to mod for Take on the World for all 5 days. Everything was such a treat. Yeah, it was, man. That was an amazing feat. I don't know how many of you guys understand exactly. I mean, you see my one computer struggling here with the Wi-Fi tonight, for whatever reason, to do one upload. Imagine being at a place where there's 300 people, and Lord knows how many of them were logging on to the Wi-Fi and trying to use that and stealing bandwidth. And yet there were very few hiccups with the uploads. I was really amazed at how good and high quality a lot of those came through, man. That was just such a blessing. Chris and Liz, bless your hearts. A lot of the conferences, right? You have to buy that as a separate package. Now, as soon as I say that, somebody's going to say, are you condemning the conferences that make you pay for it? No, that's not what I'm saying, folks. I can anticipate the hate mail. No, that's not what I'm saying. Bless them. They chose to do that. Chris and Liz, bless you for making that content free of charge to anybody who goes to Take on the World and watch this. You can go watch those live streaming and all that content as if you're in the privacy of your own home. If you couldn't afford to do that, their hearts were they wanted everybody to share in the experience and be part of the Take on the World family with us. That's all I'm saying. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Audrey, you do need a Disputed Lands mugs for the next time that you come on the show and tell us about your upcoming about your experience at the the event in the desert. Burning Man, thank you. Burning Man, the Burning Man, Audrey. So be prepared. I'm going to have you and Carl Tykrib come on the show together and talk about that. So you've already got your invite, and now you're committed because it's live on the show and on the channel. So I mean, it's just kind of a done deal now. You'll have to send me a date when you're free. There's the link. Thanks, Doc, in the chat now. You can go get your Disputed Lands gear there. Hey, Starlight. Welcome. Karen, Patricia. Hey, it's just good to see y'all guys here. I've been stalling for time. Ian said he was going to be here in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Let's just pray that went smoothly. He called me at 9:16, so he should be here. Oh, he just messaged it. He says he's got to get Google Chrome to use it, so he's downloading that first. So he'll be on here in a second. Bless your heart, Ian Fiaducci. Hey, do me a favor. When Ian gets on, everybody say, "Hey, Ian Fiaducci." He'll love it. He says, "Love it." It's a Fiaducci. Ian a Fiaducci. Now, the other thing about Ian, if you guys don't remember what he looked like, Ian's the guy, if you put him in the Middle East, he's an Arab. If you put him in Texas or in southern United States, he's Mexican. If you put him over in Rome, he's an Italian. This dude has a face that he could go anywhere, and that's the ethnicity of him. So, yeah, that's right, Karen. Fiaducci. Fiaducci. Yeah, Fiaducci. All those work. Just don't say it the correct way. Don't say it the correct way, because that's no fun. It's Fiaducci. Viva la ducky. Long live the duck. Any of those work for me. Seeing Fiaducci. It's all good. Any other questions? Dustin, Rubber Ducky. Yep. Leon's joined. Hey, Leon. Don't forget. Welcome in, brother. So what else? What else can I talk about to stall for a little bit of time here? We're doing this year. I mean, it's not a year over in a recap, but I have to say this other thing. This year has been phenomenal, spiritually speaking. I have seen, and it's hard for me to be objective in this, because I can only take my own experience, right? I can only take what I look around with. But there has been a ramp up in a different direction. Some of you guys who've been in this, what we would call the fringe Christian world for a while, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say that there seemed to have been a romantic or Renaissance period where we had a lot of information that was groundbreaking coming out at the same time in regards to understanding those things that were not talked about in the scripture before, be it giants, those kind of things, the Nephilim, the Catholic Church. And I'm talking about for me personally. Now, I mean, you can all have your Renaissance or whatever you consider, but I'm talking about a Renaissance as far as information that happened 2005, 2006, 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all within that time frame. You had folks like him or hate him. You had folks like Tom Horn, Chris Putnam working together, putting out phenomenal material. You had Josh Peck doing the same. That was the time frame when Rob Skiba was putting out his stuff. Doug Hamp talking about his stuff. Doug Woodward, Doug Krieger, all these guys. David Flynn's books were coming out. Mark Flynn's books were coming out. There was a renaissance. I would call it a renaissance, an explosion of information. And there's been times like that, since then, where there's been some amazing information that's come out. I'm just naming off the ones that I really thought were cool and had interesting information. That doesn't mean I agreed with everything they had to say theologically. That's not at all what it means. But they had information that was worth our time considering. Very smart men, not dummies. The Renaissance. But this year, it seems to be a renaissance and time for us to grow spiritually speaking. The battles that I have faced personally and seen others face this year, it seems to have been a renaissance, an awareness of the spiritual battle, the rubber meets the road, the real life issues that we all face every day in dealing with those. For some, it's finance. For some, it's a sin that's plagued them their whole lives. Gossiping, gluttony. Right? These are the ones we don't talk about. Yeah, we talk about the alcohol, smoking, pornography, or whatever. Those are the big ones, right? But let's talk about the other ones. I've seen a renaissance with people getting real with themselves, right? Getting real with the issues that are weighing on their hearts. Again, this is why the Father put what I spoke about at Take on the World, dealing with those heart issues. These are going to be the things that I think the Father needs to deal with us on, to understand what it means to walk in the Spirit. You have Jesus, Yeshua, you have the commandments, and now it's time to understand the Spirit. It's time to understand and walk in the Spirit. We're going to need these things, these three things: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't get caught up in semantics with Trinity or any of that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. You're going to need the Father, the Son, and that Holy Spirit. We need them all working together in balance if we're going to proceed in our walk. If any of these movements that we, us, you guys, me, are all a part of, the remnant, right? Remnant Online Fellowship. This remnant fellowship is going to not get sidetracked. We're going to need this part. We're going to need that part of learning to walk in the Spirit. And that means you're going to learn things that you didn't know. That means you don't know it right now, and you don't understand it right now. I want to say that again. If you don't know it and you don't understand it right now about walking in the Spirit, you can't say what it means to walk in the Spirit in fullness of gifts. For some of you, you've believed that there are gifts. You believe that there are gifts to be had in the Bible. You read the scripture and you say you believe there are gifts, but you've never experienced it in your life. Never been in a place where it seemed to be an authentic outpouring of God's Holy Spirit in that manner. But you haven't been dissuaded about healings, about prophecy, about speaking in tongues, any of the gifts, discernment. You haven't been in a place where you have walked in that, but you know it's there. Let's pray about that. Let's pray. Starla wants to know if she can get a coffee cup pre-filled with espresso. No, Starla. No, Starla, you can't get them pre-filled. You have to fill them once you get it in the mail. It just comes in a little box. I wish, man, that'd be cool. Maybe that's a business you can start. Coffee service delivery to your door. Hey, I'm claiming that one right now. I'm trademarking that. You got it all on live camera. That's my idea. That's my idea, my business. Coffee delivery in the morning to people's houses. That's mine. Okay, you got that? All right. If somebody can get with me on how to make that happen. Streaming software. Yes, Andrew, I do have the OBS software. I knew how to use that with Google Hangouts. This is a whole new system where it'll have to work with. and maxes out a computer, I'll have to use. Yes, I am aware of OBS. I want the credit and the business, Starla. Okay, I'm still waiting for Ian the duck. He's supposed to be here in a minute. Okay, I'm going to scroll up here and look to see if there are any other questions I mixed. Oh, here's something I want to play with. So, like this little thing in the corner, this Take on the World has this. So, many of you who are fine, whatever, are familiar with that. But look at this. Look what I can do. I can do this. Let's find one. Here we go. There we go. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Coffee cups. Speed of Land. There's a store. So we can do that. I give you, there's branding and banners you can do, like, there we go. Check that out. Like, I got Doc's face, like, gets all over the screen there with that one. So, but, yeah, there we go. Banners. Yeah, there we go. Starla. There it is. It's in print. It's all mine. All right, I'm looking at. She just wants 51%. That's awesome. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, look at here. No, okay, so look at here. I don't know how to take that off. I'm gonna. See, this is what happens. You don't know what buttons you're hitting. Looky there. Let's do it. Hey, I don't know how much you heard, Ian. Test your mic, brother. Can you test your mic?
Yeah, sorry, you're a little choppy there. I didn't know you were talking to me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I got to put on my headphones. Somebody said at Take on the World conference they didn't realize it was me because I didn't have my blue headphones on when I was walking around.
Yeah,
you're kind of off center of the screen there. I don't know if you can see that here. There we go. I just needed to change it.
Like that right there?
Yeah, there we go. Oh, wait. Now I'm just looking at your chest.
Yep.
He's suggesting this game. There he goes. There he goes. So, Ian, I don't know how much you heard, if you heard any of it, but you're going to be embarrassed when you go back and watch this. You're going to shake your head in embarrassment because now you're Ian Fiaducci. Ian is and his wife. Ian's going to be the co-host. Ian, for those of you who don't know you want to go ahead and share a little bit about yourself?
Okay. You're coming in real choppy for me. I don't know about anybody else. You asked me to talk about myself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Share a little bit about yourself. Oh, we lost him. I think he's having a bad connection. That was the duck. Ian. As soon as he tries to get back in, we'll get him back in. Yes, it was a nice sweatshirt. A very nice sweatshirt indeed. Oh, there we go. That's how I did it. I got the Speed of Land back. I like that. So, anyway, I don't know if he's going to be able to get back in or not. We'll wait just a few more minutes. If we can get him back on, we'll get him back on. So, going forward, we're going to have a lot more people. There's going to be live Streamyard service. I'll be sharing with you here shortly how to do that. How you can contact and give towards making sure I can open up all the content for that, so I can play the intro video. I can open up the banners. We can do it's just technically, and for the show, it's nicer. Ian, Darren Geisinger, both of those guys are going to be co-hosts. Ian will be a regular co-host. Darren will be filling in from time to time, be it on his own or with a host, a guest that he will have on solely on the channel by himself. Support. That's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much everything. Unless there's anything else. Oh, put it back on the comment. Oh, that was great. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. There's one for you. Well. Lol. This one's good too. I like that one. Yep. That was a fun game. Oh man. Anyway, you guys have been great. Oh, here he is. He's back in. Let's try to add him back in. Hey, go ahead and try to talk now, Ian. Let's see if that works.
All right. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Much clearer. So, Ian.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a little bit of time. For those who don't know, tell us about Ian. Tell us about Ian.
Okay. Tell you about what? I'm sorry. You're still chopping in and out for me. I don't know if it's my computer or what the deal is.
Yeah. It's your computer. But go ahead and tell us about yourself.
Okay, about myself. Okay, well, I was born again March 5th of 2014. My wife and I were actually born again at the same time, simultaneously hearing from the Father the same message directly to each other. We talked a little bit about that in that video that I got to do with Mr. Schaefer here, that was so lovingly allowed me to be on Disputed Lands to share a bit about my testimony. I'm prior military. I've got a wife and 2 kids, and just so wonderfully allowed to learn so much from Mr. Chad Schaefer here. Every chance that I get, God allows me to receive a lot through him, and that's a very wonderful thing for me.
Yeah, so we lost him. So we got some work to do on Ian, but Ian's going to be learning alongside how to do this, be as a co-host and to interview folks. He's got like a lot of, for being a young guy, he's hungry like a lot of you, and we're going to have him come on and share that.
I'm sorry that this is all dropping in and out. I'm gonna have to figure this out.
Oh, that's all right, Ian. Yeah, we'll do some practice and tests and everything. I just basically wanted to introduce people for those who had forgot who you were. Like I was kind of kidding you when you weren't here. I was saying if Ian's in southern United States, then he looks like he's Mexican. If he's in the East, then he looks like he's a Middle Eastern. You're one of those guys that can fit in anywhere. Don't let the beard fool you. There is a big, big heart underneath it. He loves the Father. He loves his children, and we're going to have a good time asking questions, feeding off of each other, and getting our thoughts. But Ian, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you on. This is going to be Ian, my new co-host for Disputed Lands, and I think until next time, Ian, you got here just in time to sign off. I'm going to give you an opportunity to, though. Do you have anything on your mind or in your heart that you would like to share with these guys about Take on the World this year?
I didn't catch that last bit. It's still chopping in and out on me.
Let me do this. I think I can do this. Share your thoughts.
Share my thoughts on
Take on the World 2019.
Oh,
Yeah, I it's just not working, folks, unfortunately. That's too bad. Oh well, folks. Well, we'll get him back. Oh, I don't know how that happened. You're in twice now, Ian. I think we'll figure this out on our own, Ian. Separately, we'll try to get this worked out. Maybe we can do some settings or whatever, but we got the important part done. We got your face on the camera so people remember who you are. This is Ian, and he's going to be the co-host on Disputed Lands. We're going to be a good time. Thank you all for being here. Until we see you guys the next time, Ian, hang around. You don't leave just because I end the broadcast. Until next time, this has been Disputed Lands Monday night, Take on the World TV.